This podcast is brought to you by Most Valuable Podcasts, saving your day from boredom with the best podcasting entertainment.
What's up, everybody? Ricky Widmer here, along with fellow man-child Johnny Karlic. Hooey! And we are back for another edition of the Rick and Johnny podcast right here on Most Valuable Podcast, one-stop shop for entertainment news, for superheroes, comic books. Really, I think the catchphrase that we're going with is anything under the nerdy suns is what we are going to hit here on the Rick and Johnny podcast. Got a jam-packed show, as always. Going to be looking at the new Venom trailer as that came out. It's funny because we recorded last Sunday.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, Tom Hardy says they're going to put out a new trailer at CinemaCon. That next day, boom, new Venom trailer. So I'm like, well, we got to wait a week before we can talk about that. Then we're going to be looking at an Avengers topic for what the title of Avengers 4 can be. I will say right now that will contain Infinity War spoilers. And then the last segment, we're going to look at a possible Man of Steel 2 movie for DC and what we want that story to be. But Johnny, let's jump in.
There's a lot of pauses.
We've got Venom, the new trailer, and basically the question that I think is most important to this trailer. Did they get Venom right? Did they?
Did they?
I'm asking you.
Oh, you're asking me.
Yeah, I'm asking you.
Oh,
I'm
that's
asking
right.
them. I'm asking you.
Oh, it's the thing you're asking them. I mean, they're the ones that they're more important.
We always ask them. Their opinion is the most important.
It is
but
the
I'm
most
asking
important.
you for discussion.
Oh,
did they get
okay.
Venom right in this trailer? Because it's the first time we've seen it.
No, I love it. I love what they did with Venom. I'm actually watching the trailer over and over again, just so you and I have referenced throughout this thing. And no, I really like what they did with it. I mean, I wish we had a little bit more story because looks like there's more than one person being infected with a symbiote or symbiote.
Yeah. Oh, I'm going to get into that.
I wanted to get
I'm going to get into that in a little bit, but I mean, we kind of knew there'd be more than one symbiote.
Yeah.
Because of the storylines, the lethal protector and planet of the symbiotes, that we knew they were going to kind of combine together. But this is one where, I mean, I look back, and I had to look back at the Sam Raimi Spider-Mans because that was the last time we've seen Venom.
I had to double check on those too, just to remember what it looked like.
It wasn't terrible. Like, I look back, and maybe this is me kind of being an apologist, but I'm like, it doesn't look bad, but this one looks a lot better.
Oh, completely agree.
Like, it looks 10 times better. The thing that I like the most is it seems like he's not going to have the white spider on the front.
Yeah.
Because realistically, why would a symbiote have the spider on the front without knowing who Spider-Man is?
Exactly. So I like that they're going with that so far. I like how that was weird. I like how it doesn't have the whatchamacallit from the other Sam Raimi ones where it has like the webbing design. Again, same thing. Why would it have that if it doesn't know who Spider-Man is necessarily? I just like a lot of the things about it. Well, for one, when you finally see in spoilers, if for some reason you haven't seen the trailer by now,
which will be down below in the description.
Yeah, so where it actually forms over, you start seeing the teeth form.
It goes around Eddie Brock's head.
Yes, it goes around his head. The white eyes form, though. And then you get to actually hear the voice of it more so than, like, the whispers in his head.
Yeah, the only thing... We are Venom.
Yes.
The only
I almost said Groot.
Yeah. The only thing I will say I don't like yet about it is the eyes seem like... It just seems weird to me. Like, looking at the eyes right now, like, I'm looking at a picture of it. I don't know if it's because of, like, how it looks, but it looks like a glob of, like, glue to me.
Yeah.
And, like, of course we know, like, at this point, maybe all these special effects aren't done yet, so I'm not saying, oh, it looks terrible, write it off, but, like, that's the only thing I would nitpick with it, where somebody creatively did something where as Venom came up and around Eddie Brock, there was, like, boom, googly eyes on Venom, because
like
that's
that.
what
funny.
It looks like.
Yeah.
But, I mean, everything else from the way the tongue moves to the teeth, it's like, holy shit, that's Venom.
Yeah, and I mean, maybe the eyes will look better, like you said. Maybe it's not done in post-production. Maybe there's more that's going to be done with it. I'm not completely opposed to the eyes, though. Maybe as we see it moving around, it will make more sense why they did it in that fashion. My thing too is not just him in the symbiote suit. I love it, by the way, again. But like him outside of it with working with the symbiote though, like
the voice sounds like Venom too.
Yes, the voice does.
And the voice that I'm using as a reference that I think you are too, is the one from like the
Spider-Man
90s
cartoon.
Spider-Man cartoon.
Where it's kind of a triple tone voice. It's almost whisper in your head style until it actually talks.
Where this one is just like a deeper voice, and we don't know who's actually voicing the Venom character yet, but it was like hearing that deep voice, I'm like, oh my God, it sounds like the Venom voice.
We are Venom.
Yeah, it sounds like that voice that I remember hearing way back when I was a kid.
Yes. No, that's what it reminds me of. I think that's the nostalgia they're probably trying to hit, because
I mean, come on, who's really going to drive to these movies? The other thing that I kind of liked with the whole Venom thing about it is when kind of the Eddie Brock Venom give and take.
Yeah.
Where Eddie Brock is like, all right, we're going to do this, but you can only, like, you're not going to hurt anybody.
As I see it, we can do whatever we want.
Exactly. And that's when he pushes him against the wall. And Eddie tries to get, like, move that hand forward, but that was like, boom.
Yeah.
Against the wall. Basically saying, hey, man, I have control of you.
Yeah.
I have infected you, and I can make you do whatever I want.
Well, the one thing I do like, too, and it's interesting to see, this is he's got to be new to the symbiote, like, almost like he doesn't realize it's there exactly yet, is when he is in his apartment and three guys come up to attack him. Well, you got
because they're from the Life Foundation.
Yeah, and
hey,
like,
they want their stuff,
our property back. All of a sudden, you just holds up with the neck via symbiote, punches a guy with like a symbiote arm. And the one other guy tries to come in the room out of his back and just bam.
That was the best one.
Yes,
where just he goes to shoot at him straight out of the back against the wall, and then he just jumps out of the window.
Yep.
And the other cool thing I like, and I've seen some people complain about this, but I kind of liked it from the trailer. He's riding the bike, right? And then he does the jump, and the bike like goes away. And it's like, oh shit! And then the symbiote comes out of his chest, grabs the bike, and pulls him back onto it.
Yeah, or or generally same scene where he's riding, the cars are chasing him down. Just takes two cars, throws them sideways, and gives the other two cars something to crash into.
And I mean,
it's trying to protect it. It's a parasite in a sense.
It's trying to protect its
Thank you.
host.
I was trying to remember the word.
And I mean, the thing that we also see is we saw two other of the symbiotes. Not exactly sure which ones there's going to be.
Yeah.
There was the one character that was kind of latched up on the board with the thing around his face.
Actually, I think it was around his chest because he's screaming in pain.
Then there was the girl on the ground that was kind of like
shaking,
moving her head and stuff. She was the one that jumped out of the cage and kind of tackled Eddie Brock.
I don't know if it's Eddie Brock because it's not really clear.
It is.
Is it?
The reason why I say that is the whole theme they were kind of putting off is that he was going to sneak in to find out more about it, and then that's where he found that. That's how I'm assuming he gets infected. She tackles him, a little bit of that symbiote
comes off,
goes onto his person.
Onto him, and that makes sense.
The thing is, we kind of know a lot more about the story now. Is that he's a reporter? Obviously, it's Eddie Brock. There to report on the Life Foundation because he's there doing an interview.
And he's like,
everything seems fine. Then he asks a question, and they go, "Fuck it, interview's over."
Yeah, it's kind of an incriminating question.
Yeah,
that's why.
And I mean, then at that point he sneaks in. Boom. Then everything with the Venom symbiote.
That would make sense.
I want to ask you, seeing this trailer, does this change anything or give you a better idea of what we talked about? I think a week or two ago. With the whole Carnage situation, now that we know a little bit better how Eddie Brock gets the symbiote and exactly what's going on a little bit better with the Venom symbiote.
You know what? I think...
Notice how I'm saying symbiote.
Yeah.
Symbiote.
It's not symbiote?
It's not symbiote.
You sure?
God, I hope they fix that. If they don't fix that, let's put it this way. This is how much I'm going to hate that. If this movie ends up being a 5 out of 5, but they say symbiote for the whole thing, it's a 4. I will take off a point in my review.
A full point, not even like a point 0.5.
Oh, I'll take off. If you want a 0.5, let's go 0.5. I will take off at least a full point for that because I'm that upset about it.
No, I'm asking you if it wouldn't even just be like maybe, 0.5 because she can't pronounce it right?
No, it's a full point.
Wow. Okay.
Because you as the director should know how it's pronounced.
Very true. Very true.
That is how upset. That's the only thing I hated about
Ricky's
this
getting over
trailer.
this.
Is it's symbiote, not symbiote. But I'm a perfectionist. Go ahead.
Hopefully she fixes that then.
Well, they fix it. Yeah.
The other thing I'm interested in now is there's the capsule, not the capsule itself, but the whole ship. I'm trying to decipher, is that parachute, like parachute string coming out of it, or is that webbing? Because we have hints that Tom Holland's supposed to be in here, right?
Yes, but I think it's supposed to be like cameo-esque ish.
Yeah. Well, I mean, could that be a Spider-Man cameo? I'm not saying Spider-Man's gonna be in there, but
well, here's what I'm thinking. And this is why I'm glad you brought Spider-Man into it. I heard this actually, and I heard it, and I'm like, great, like that is. I could see that being the case for this movie. Mm-hmm. I think they're gonna have Tom Holland in it, kind of like how Captain America was in Spider-Man: Homecoming.
Very true.
Where Eddie Brock will be walking past something, like, because people are like, oh, when's he going to get the white spider thing on his Venom suit? What I think is going to happen is when he's infected with the symbiote, we're going to see on the TV something about Spider-Man, or in general, basically it's just going to be Spider-Man on the TV.
Yeah.
And the symbiote's going to see the spider emblem in the middle and go, that's a cool idea, and then kind of adapt that into
the suit,
the symbiote, to make
that'd
it
be cool,
look cool.
like after credit scene style thing or something,
even
end.
if it's in the movie, like at some point.
I just think that if they're going to do an after credit scene thing, that'd be a nice.
Because I think the after credit scene would be
the Carnage thing.
Yeah, if you haven't introduced Carnage to that point.
Yeah, that would be. Yeah, I would go with that. Then have him do it like at the very end of the movie. That way, like he's in the symbiote, looks in like a Spider-Man, like from the Infinity Wars. And I'm the only reason I can say this isn't a spoiler because you've seen it in the credits. Yeah. You saw it at the end of Spider-Man: Homecoming. The new suit,
the Iron Spider suit.
Yeah. That spider. Tell me that doesn't look like the same as the symbiote one. I mean, different color, but the way it lays across the body looks the same as the symbiote one.
No, yeah, and that's what I'm thinking.
He sees that one and.
He sees it, but the symbiote's the one that goes, "Oh, that's cool," and kind of
him or the symbiote sees it, or. I mean, either way, it's probably both because we are Venom.
This movie is very like this was one where I was kind of on the same boat as Dave, where it was like, you know what, I'm not super hyped for this one. Like I'm gonna go see it. It's Venom. I love Spider-Man. He's my favorite Marvel hero, but I'm not expecting this to be good. This trailer came out, and I'm like, I cannot wait to see
Same.
this.
I am so excited now because of it.
My hype level just, went through the roof and just kept going and going to where, at the trailer, the one that's down below in the description, ever from, let's see, the timestamp I would start at would be about 2:18, where the guy comes up and he goes, "Who are you?" And then the symbiote grabs him and goes, "We are Venom." Yeah, and then it's basically, "Hey, I'm going to attack you," which they set that up for that line because they wanted the "We are Venom" to end it. But seeing the symbiote at the end of this trailer was perfect.
Yeah.
It was perfect. Loved the symbiote costume. Like I said, the only thing I hated from this trailer was how they pronounced symbiote.
And there's only one person that's screwing that up so far.
Well, and the thing that I hate most about it is that's the only time they said the word in the entire trailer. So it's like, is she just saying it that way? Is that how they're going to pronounce it? Someone please tell them that's not how we pronounce it, kind of a thing.
It's not.
And that's my biggest worry right now. And I know some people might be sitting there, Ricky, that's a silly thing to be worried about. But it is. It would kind of be, I'm trying to think of an example. If like let's say it was like a Batman movie and they, instead of saying Bruce Wayne, they wanted to say Bruce Wayne instead of Bruce Wayne. And they wanted to mispronounce a name differently. It'd be like, no, that's not how it is. And that's what I feel like with the symbiote
like
thing.
mispronouncing vibranium or adamantium.
Yes, exactly. That's probably a better example.
Yeah.
But I was just trying to think of something off the top of my head. Any final thoughts with this before we move on?
No, I'm excited to see it. I mean, I'm not as perfectionist as you, so the symbiote, as long as she's the only one.
It just sounded so
As long as she's the only one
off.
mispronouncing it, I'm not going to really harp on it. If they're all mispronouncing it, then yeah, I may take some points off from
But
that.
at this point, like
Or
I
some-
said,
not
she's
points.
the only one we've heard say it. So
Yeah,
we
that's
don't
very
know.
true. So, I mean, we'll have to wait and see, but that's the only thing that's like, as long as she's the only one mispronouncing it, I can let it go, but get a voice actor then? Or not a voice actor, but a
Voice coach.
voice coach. Someone that can teach you how to pronounce it properly.
Symbiote.
Symbiote.
Symbiote. Symbiote. Symbiote. Symbiote. I hate it. Just
Symbiote.
It just sounds so weird. Like symbiote. It's like, no, it's symbiote. But this is where we're going to turn it on to you guys. Let us know what you guys think of the new Venom trailer down below in the comment section. You like it, you love it, you want some more of it, or did you hate it? Did you absolutely hate it? And you don't think Venom looks right, and what would you do differently? Let us know what you guys think down below in the comment section. Let's move on, though, into our next topic, and we're going into some Avengers talk, Johnny. We didn't get enough Avengers this weekend.
Of course not.
For the first time ever, our movie review, we were actually able to, because I took off work on Friday, because I could stay up all night and do it. We saw Avengers on Thursday. We put up the review. If you've seen Avengers, haven't seen our review, go check out our review. I'm going to try to put it right up there for you guys so it comes right out and you can click on it. But what we are looking at today is, this is a story that we knew coming into Avengers Infinity War. By the way, this will have Avengers Infinity War spoilers. So if you have not seen Infinity War, bookmark this one. Put it in your watch later, bookmark it for later after you see the movie, then come back to it, because the Russos in an interview before Infinity War came in and said that, oh, we can't give you the title for Avengers 4 because it's going to be a huge spoiler for the Avengers Infinity War movie. So now that we've seen Avengers Infinity War and it's out and it's been out for a full weekend, Johnny, I will ask you point blank, because we didn't talk about this in our review. Now that we've seen Infinity War, what will be the title of Avengers 4?
Well, I believe in one of the articles you were reading, one that you and I both liked because it came from the movie.
Exactly from the movie.
Was Endgame.
I love it. Give me Avengers Endgame. You want to know why I love that so much? Not only does it pull from Avengers Infinity War, it kind of
gives you an idea of what.
Well, I mean, it's not the end of the MCU, because, like, I think it was Kevin Feige came out and said that he doesn't ever think that the MCU will end. But this is the end of this 10-year period that we've had. Like, phases 1 through 3 are one collective whole, and then phase 4 can be the next jumping off point into our cosmic sphere.
Yeah.
As they're saying, like the cosmic universe they're going to go into. So that's why for me Endgame is so good, because like even Doctor Strange said, now we're entering the Endgame.
Right before, I think that's right before he disappeared.
Right before he disappeared. Now we're in the end, or was it? Or I
think it was slightly before that, actually.
Yeah,
like,
because it was right when Tony asked, "Why did you give up the stone?" And he goes, "Because now we're in the end game." Yeah, it was before the snap.
Yeah, because Thanos had to go back to Earth and get a fight.
Yeah, he had to get the Mind Stone.
Let's be honest, the only real fight that came was from Thor.
Yeah, that's the only one that came. But I mean, the thing for me is,
well, a little bit of Cap.
That's the one I like the most. However, there are some out here, people are throwing in Avengers Dissembled, because it's like, oh, you know, they're dissembled, or people are saying Avengers Reassembled, because they're going to have to reassemble everything. Is there anything that we're missing? Is there a title out there? Is there a story out there that you think Avengers 4 will be? Because the thing is, people are saying, oh, we got Captain Marvel, we got Ant-Man and the Wasp. Both of those happened before Avengers 4, though. Before Infinity War. So really, both of those are not going to impact.
They have nothing to
see.
do with it. Well, they do, but they don't. I mean, it's part of the MCU, but they have nothing to do with that story for the most part. Well, I was going to ask you first. Would you have any other ones you were thinking of before I throw mine out? Because it's kind of generic, but it's something that we've never had, and they played around with it, but they never actually said it in the MCU. So I want to see if you have anything first.
I would love if it was Avengers Secret War, but I don't think we get that.
Okay. No, I think that'd be a different storyline. I would love Avengers
Secret War.
I think it'd be a completely different storyline instead of the Infinity War.
We're not going to get the Skrull and everything.
No.
In there. What about you?
I would say it kind of goes off of these two that you said before. We've never had them say it. They've played around with it. Why not just call it Avengers Assemble? Like, they are reassembling the team. This will be the first time the Avengers Assemble. Just name it that. Instead of reassemble, disassemble, Avengers Assemble. Didn't
they use that a lot, though, with the first Avengers?
No, they never even said it, because in Age of Ultron, at the very end, when you get the new Avengers, Cap goes, Avengers, and he's about to say assemble, and they cut to black.
Yeah.
So I've never heard, I can't, and unless I'm wrong, you guys let me know. They've never actually said the phrase Avengers Assemble.
I'm looking here to see if, because I want to say, yeah, okay. That's the thing. So in the U.S.,
yes,
it was Marvel's The Avengers, but in the UK and Ireland, it was classified as Marvel's Avengers Assemble.
Oh, was it?
Yeah. So that's the thing of, it was only the UK and Ireland.
Okay.
But
well,
I thought they did something. That's why I was like, I thought they did something with Assemble early on in that movie. Like, not that movie, but like with that movie coming into everything.
Well, then there goes that one.
Yeah. I mean, reassemble kind of seems like the big one because they assembled. Now it's reassembling. To me, I don't know what else besides, like, Endgame's my favorite.
Yeah, so
because
far.
It ripped straight through it. But my whole thought process is there anything from this movie that would have been a massive spoiler? And to me, if they would have came out, like, I guess Endgame would have been like, okay. Like, I guess that's kind of a spoiler. But even if you called it Avengers Endgame, I wouldn't know exactly what it was.
Well, I mean, it doesn't really give a ton away other than, this is the last try they have. Or, so, I mean, you don't know, because it doesn't give away it doesn't give away, is anyone coming back? It doesn't give away, who's going to die officially? We don't know any of that just from the name Endgame. We just know that, okay, obviously, because if you couldn't have figured it out by then, Thanos is going to get defeated. It's just going to take 2 full movies to do it. And in what way Thanos is going to be defeated, I don't know. Let's just hope it's not Infinity Gauntlet style.
I'm looking here, and the only thing I'm looking at, because I'm looking at other, like, actual comic names, and the only one that I can think of that could have been kind of a spoiler, but I don't think they use this, is there's a comic from 2015 that is Thanos. The Infinity Relativity. To where it's like, I don't think they'll call it Infinity Relativity, but
I don't think so.
Will they call it something in that, like, because we're living in an alternate, it's not really an alternate, but it's like a new world kind of a thing, where, because the big spoiler to me would be that people were disappearing, because that's the thing that kind of shook everyone.
Yeah, it did.
That half the world kind of disappeared. Do you think they call it Avengers: A New World? But that to me doesn't put the end to something. You know what I'm saying?
No, it doesn't.
Like, to me, this has to be a title that puts an end to something, like the ultimate end. That's why I like Endgame so much. Or
like Endgame, or something that kind of derives off of the fact that they are trying to redo what's been undone in a sense.
To reverse it.
Yeah. I can't think of a...
Like, there's one here, Avengers Infinity Gauntlet, but why name it the Infinity Gauntlet?
No, exactly. I wouldn't do that, because
the gauntlet got kind of destroyed when he snapped it, which is interesting. Like, I'm looking at an article here. They said Infinity Gauntlet, which I don't see. Secret Invasion, but there's no invasion here.
No.
Like, the invasion is the Skrull and Kree. Avengers Dissembled could be the one. Secret War, I would love for them to use.
That'd be
I think they would use.
I think that'd more so be a different story altogether.
Yeah, save Secret Wars for like the cosmic side of things.
Yeah, when we actually maybe have to have the Secret War, which would be cool.
Yeah, and I mean, the thing is, for me, Endgame would probably be the biggest spoiler then, right?
Yeah, I can't think of anything that would
because of Doctor Strange.
Yeah, even then, it doesn't spoil it that badly. Without seeing the movie, how the hell are you supposed to know what that means? Mm-hmm. Now that you and I have context of what that means,
because we've actually seen the movie, we know that Doctor Strange has that that conversation with Tony Stark.
Checked 14 billion outcomes,
and only one of them. Well, that's something. I'll bring this up. I know this is a little off topic from the title thing, but it relates here. I don't know if we exactly hit this in our review. I think we kind of danced around it. I was looking today when I was researching topics for our show. Yeah. And there was an article I came across of what is Doctor Strange's plan? Because when we even mentioned it in our review, he's got a plan. You knew he had some sort of a plan because he easily gave that stone up. Yeah. I don't think he would have easily gave that stone up if he didn't know, hey, I've got to do this.
It's like this is part of the plan. Honestly, I guess part of the plan is to keep Tony alive, because Thanos was about to finish off Tony. He's like, I hope they remember you. So the part of that plan is to have kept Tony alive.
Do you think he's the, I don't want to say the missing piece, but do you think Tony is going to be the main thing in Avengers 4 to stop Thanos?
Yes and no. I think it's going to be something along the lines of that.
Because you brought up something to me today that I didn't really remember. About Tony Stark.
So I'll tell them real quick.
That's why I brought it up, so that you would say it.
Yeah. Of course you did. So any of you that have seen, and I'm hoping you all have seen if you're watching this one right now, Infinity Wars, the last people to survive.
Hope you've seen Age of Ultron too.
Well, I hope you did too, but hey,
that's kind of important for
this point, that's your fault for not seeing it. So any of you, hopefully, like I said, any of you that's seen it, and hopefully you all have, at the end of Infinity Wars, a bunch of people disappear. They just gone. Cap survives, Bruce survives, Black Widow, Thor survives. We don't know what's going on with Clint. So that's the one that kind of throws a little bit of a wrench in there. Am I missing anyone? Cap survives, I think I said.
Yeah. Cap, Thor, Tony, Hulk, Black Widow, Hawkeye, and Tony. So the 6.
Yeah, the 6.
There's 6 of the original Avengers. We see there.
And in Tony's vision in Age of Ultron, those are the 6. I mean, followed by a bunch of random people just laying there, which I took it as possible SHIELD agents or who really just soldiers of some sort. But those are the ones as they pan across. It's Hulk, Black Widow, Clint, Thor, and Cap.
And Cap even says to him,
grabs him by the arm and says, "You could have saved us." So my guess is that this is going to probably this story's going to not weigh heavily in a sense that like, oh, it's all about Tony, but Tony's going to have to do something pretty big in the next one to finish this endgame, which is why maybe Stephen Strange gave the Infinity Stone up so easily. It's like, I will give you the stone if you spare Tony's life.
Now I'm reading here, like the whole thing that I'm reading here is about Doctor Strange's plan. Yes. And we know he had to have a plan because like we said in the review, he wouldn't have given up the stone if he didn't know what that one singularity was. Yes. That's where they came out on top. And I'm reading here and it says the Avengers must lose in order to win. And it says, through his connection to Thanos via the Soul Gem, Adam Warlock explains the real reason. This is from the comics in the Infinity Gauntlet, which you and I read. You can check a graphic conversation on that. That went up today, actually. And it says, look back onto your life, Thanos of Titan, and what do you see? A man always seeking ultimate power and losing it as soon as he attains it. Why? Because deep in his soul, he knows he is not worthy. And that to me is like the whole thing of how are they, at this point, how are they going to undo this? Because the last thing we saw in the post-credit scene was the Captain Marvel flashy thing from the beacon. However, if when he snapped, the Infinity Gauntlet kind of was destroyed, how are they going to turn back time?
Well,
what's going to help them turn back time? Because Doctor Strange is gone.
Well, the Infinity Stone is with Thanos still.
Exactly. The stone's with Thanos. Doctor Strange is gone. He's the only one that knows how to use the damn thing.
Unless either Wong knows another way, because
we don't even know if Wong is around.
Yeah, my guess is if we got one sorcerer that's gone, Wong's going to be around. Because in the comics, it's the opposite way.
Because Wong disappears.
Yes, in the comics. Sorry to spoil that for you guys, but go check it out. I can't snap for it to happen. He can.
Your snap just didn't work.
My snap is a hey. It's probably over there somewhere.
Yeah, just go check it out.
Anyways,
I forgot Wong did disappear in the Infinity Gauntlet.
Gauntlet, but not in not necessarily in the movie.
Well, we never seen it.
Exactly. We don't know. Just like we don't know Clint, we don't know Ant-Man or Wasp even. So,
God, Clint not being in the movie was weird.
It was. Because weren't they kind of hinting at he's going to be in the movie?
I'm assuming he's in the next one.
That's what I think. So he's here's what I would think would give him the strive to do that. His wife or kids disappeared in that snap,
and now he has to come. Hey, what the hell's going on?
Yeah, guys, I need you to fill me in because I don't know what the hell's going on.
Yeah, and
obviously he's going to be out for revenge for that,
and he's not going to be able to get in touch with Nick because Nick's gone.
Yep, Nick's gone. Maria's gone.
Yeah. So I mean, he's not going to be able to get in touch with those guys. Only one he will probably get in touch with is with Nat.
Well, Nat
I was going to say
Cap.
Black Widow or Cap.
Yeah.
That one works as
Nat
well.
would probably be the top one.
But I mean, for me, if I was going off of a name, and it's funny, I scrolled down this article. You know, it's the last thing they said. The importance of Tony Stark.
Did they really? Just missed that.
And they said, it's 2 paragraphs. I'll read it really quick.
Yeah, go ahead.
Before wrapping up, there's another interpretation of Doctor Strange handing the Time Stone that's worth considering. His statement that it was the only way could mean that it was the only way to stop Thanos from killing Tony. That, in turn, would mean that Tony Stark's survival is essential to the Avengers' inevitable defeat of Thanos. While he isn't the most powerful remaining member of the Avengers, Iron Man has been almost as important as Captain America in playing a leadership role within the group. And after such a devastating blow, the Avengers may need Tony in order to properly regroup. While the elimination of half the people in the galaxy was ostensibly random, it's probably no coincidence that all of the founding members of the Avengers, Thor, Iron Man, Cap, Black Widow, Hulk, and we can safely assume Hawkeye, have survived, while most of the allies that joined that later have been killed off. If Avengers 4 will bring everything full circle, then it makes sense to have the original group back together for the final push against Thanos, and Tony as an integral part of that group. Here's another thing I didn't think about. You know what we're probably going to get for the first time in Avengers 4? Tony and Cap finally put the hatchet to bed.
Yeah.
Because think about it, I didn't mention this in our review. Bruce is like, dude, you got to call Cap. Like, who cares what little squander you guys have? This is more important.
This is bigger than that.
And who ended up calling Cap?
Bruce. Because he found the phone.
Yeah. Tony never called him. Tony wasn't going to call him.
No.
Like, Tony was like, oh, I guess I have to. But he wasn't going to call him. So this might be, well, this should be the first movie where they kind of bury that hatchet.
They're going to have to.
And go, hey, man, like, that I didn't even think about. We got to bring the original group back together in order to stop everything. Mm-hmm. And bring it right back to where it was
+2.
In the beginning. What do you mean +2?
Nebula and Rocket survived.
No, I guess.
I guess.
I guess, but they're not part of the Avengers.
No, they're not. I'm just joking.
They're
with that
not
part.
Avengers. They're just. They're
Avenger.
Oh yeah. Good luck, kid. You're an Avenger now. What? Really?
No, because I mean that the one thing that also makes me think that this is the one path that needs to be taken by Doctor Strange. Like Doctor Strange's plan is in the ship. He goes, if it comes to you, the kid, or the stone, I'm obligated to protect the stone. I'm out of there. You guys will die. And then all of a sudden,
he went back on that.
Yeah, he did go back on it. He goes, Thanos, I will give you the stone if you let Tony live. It's like you just went back on your word after checking 14 billion.
That's the key thing, though.
Yeah.
He checked all of those probabilities.
14 billion probabilities and only one. And it's like, that means Tony needs to... My thought is that means Tony needs to survive.
He does. And I mean, maybe it's one of those things where it's not just Tony.
Yeah.
It's here's what probably went down to it. The original Avengers are the only ones that can save us. So Doctor Strange said, I have one of those members in front of me. If I even make sure that he doesn't die, that's all I can do.
Yeah.
I can't make sure that the rest of them don't die because anything can happen. But let's be honest, I can only take care of this one.
At least if I make sure this one survives, it's part of the plan. It's part of the chance. It'll take it down the right path as much as I can. I can make it happen.
Before I ask you the final question that I'm going to, any final things you want to hit within the Avengers topic we've got today?
No, it's going to be very interesting on how they're going to, well, for one, how they're going to time travel without a time stone. Because, like you said, they got the watches. So I wonder if Tony makes a way to travel through time.
You think so?
He's the only one I can think that has. It's either him or Wong. Those are the only two I can think that have the capability of doing so.
I'm trying to think
of anyone else, unless Thor has some magical way of doing it. I doubt that highly, but unless he has some magical way of doing it, anything from Asgard's gone to do that with. So
yeah, anything's gone from Asgard. I don't think that Rocket has any.
I mean, Rocket could help. He's good at assembling random things, but Tony's going to be the one that has to think about it because Cap's got nothing. I have no thought. Cap,
unless Captain Marvel comes back and she knows stuff.
Maybe she knows a way.
Because here's the question I'm going to ask you, and you just popped this into my head.
Yeah,
will we see in Avengers 4 Captain Marvel with the Infinity Gauntlet on?
Infinity Gauntlet, I don't know. Captain Marvel,
because people are saying out of everyone in the MCU, she's going to be the only one that's powerful enough to wield it.
Well, here's the thing. In comic books, and this is one thing I read, I could be wrong at this point, but this was a few years ago I read this. Tony has been the only human
to wield it.
So maybe Tony will wield it.
God, that'd be seeing Robert Downey Jr. with the Infinity Gauntlet on.
Right?
Like, what a fitting end. You started it 10 years ago. Well, 11 years when we get to Avengers 4.
You're going to end it.
And you're going to end it with the Infinity Gauntlet on.
That would be epic.
How crazy would that be? Here's the last question I was going to ask you.
Go ahead.
And this will end our segment. If you had to put money on it right now, what do you think the title for Avengers 4 will be?
Right now, I'm really liking Endgame, so that's the one I'm going to stick with.
That's the one I was going to use. I would love if they came out and said it's going to be Avengers Secret War. I would love it. But I just don't know how it fits. I don't know how
it doesn't
fits.
fit, so keep it.
I don't know how it's a spoiler, but I will say Endgame is also really cool. I like Endgame because it is something that Doctor Strange said when he's like, hey, you know what? We're in the end game right now. And that is where we are. But this is where you guys come in. Let us know what you think down below in the comment section. What will Avengers 4 title be? Also, what do you think is going to happen in Avengers 4 based off of what we saw this past weekend in Infinity War? Let us know what you think down below in that comment section. Johnny, let's end the show, though, going into a little bit of DC. We went Sony, Marvel, then strictly Marvel. Now we're into the DC universe. And what we're looking at today is there's no news of this. There's no actual rumblings of this. There was just somebody, I believe, at Cinecon while Henry Cavill was promoting Fallout, which is a new Mission Impossible movie. someone asked him about a Man of Steel 2, and he was like, you know what? I'd really like a Man of Steel 2, kind of gave a little things about what he would like with it, but nothing real juicy. So I decided today, let's do something that we've done before that we like doing. We did it with Black Widow. We also did it again with Batman.
Yeah, we did.
And let's kind of construct a story for what we would want Man of Steel 2 to be. Here's the first thing I want to say, and this is my whole thing with DC right now. Stop trying to do the connective universe. Just stop. Don't even try to do it. Because the thing that I think that they should do, separate all the heroes. Batman's by himself. Superman's by himself. Wonder Woman, Flash. You can create all these little pockets. And then when you want them to interact with each other, they can't. So it's Superman. I would keep him off to the side. Let them kind of build this superhero universe. Now bringing in what happened at the end of Man of Steel 1, where one, he told the general, hey, you got to convince Washington to kind of let me do my thing. There was also the other scene where the secret identity, we see him becoming Clark Kent at the Daily Bugle with Lois Lane. I want to ask you, though. You started off, Man of Steel 2, what should the story be? Give us one thing that should be in the story or that you would want to kind of inspire the story of a Man of Steel 2.
Well, you're more of the DC guy than I am. So I don't... They kind of ruined the two ones that I really know about is anything with Doomsday.
Yeah.
Because we can't do that because of Batman v Superman. And we can't do Death of Superman because, again, that was ruined by Batman v Superman. So those are the two storylines I really knew about. So I can go off, really for me, it's more of I can go off of villains and I don't really know a ton of Superman storylines. Just because I didn't really read any of the Superman comics. I watched it on TV. But the one that really comes to mind is throwing in something with Brainiac.
Okay.
I know there's so many incarnations and so many different things you can do with Brainiac. So, I mean...
Here's the question I have with that.
Yeah.
This is the thing that brings me up. And for a Man of Steel 2, would you want to do that... with the, because they have the Krypton TV show, and I know that it's TV, movie, they don't even relate to each other, but DC having the Krypton TV show, Brainiac being the main villain in that, Brainiac, I agree, great villain. I almost pulled up a comic with Brainiac in it, but that was the one caveat that I had, was it, because he's in the Krypton TV show, do we want two things in the medium to have the same villain? Do you think it even matters? I don't
think it matters because, like you stated, sort of, and what we've stated before in other podcasts,
they're not related.
They're not related. They don't connect. There's nothing. They're like, okay, no, none of this has to do with ours. I mean, otherwise, the Flash is kind of a problematic tie there. So, I mean, no, I don't think that's too much of a problem. I mean, the other one that I was looking through just villains to start with. Another one that caught my eye was Metallo.
Okay.
Was another one. I'm not sure I'm not sure storylines include them, but it would be an interesting villain to have out there as well.
The thing with Superman is there's so many villains that you could use. The thing is, how are you going to incorporate these villains?
Yeah.
That's the thing. Because let's be completely honest. The one that is probably the easiest villain to use would be Lex Luthor.
Yeah.
You already have him kind of introduced. You already have him basically, to me, the Lex Luthor we saw at the end of Justice League, 10 times better than the Joker Lex Luthor we saw in BVS.
Yeah. Well, now, the other thing I was trying to go off of, too, and I know you wanted to more so say, well, forget that little thing. Well, I don't remember if it was the director or, not director, but the person talking about it, Henry Cavill and whoever else it was, were saying, well, we wanted to come off of the first Man of Steel. Yeah. Okay, well, you guys kind of like put yourself in a bind because you kind of narrowed down your storylines because you didn't introduce Luthor until the Batman v Superman. There's a lot of things that you took away just because of Batman v Superman, And so you kind of narrowed your stuff down. Well, I mean, this would be a great way to, if DC's going to keep going with the extended universe style thing in some senses of that, do this one as a Brainiac thing, and Superman defeats him, and then later on in the movies, Brainiac combined with Luthor, because I know that happens.
Here's one that I'm kind of looking at.
Go for it.
And it is, the one that I'm looking at is, it's called Superman Birthright.
Okay.
And just some of the things, let me see if I can pull up the actual kind of. So this is one that it's a 12-issue miniseries that was for the modern day Superman, and just one of the stories. I'll give you a little snippet of it. So this was Superman Birthright number 5. On Clark Kent's first day in Metropolis, which you can kind of do because at the end of Man of Steel, it was technically his first day on the job at the Daily Planet. I said Daily Bugle earlier. People are going to get in trouble. That's Spider-Man.
Yeah,
we were just talking Marvel. I meant Daily Planet. But on Clark Kent's first day in Metropolis, he also has his first confrontation with Lex Luthor as Superman. When several Wayne Tech helicopters go crazy and start killing people, Superman tracks down signals to LexCorp and confronts him. Superman embarrasses the city leader on the front page of the Daily Bugle. Superman's first adult meeting with Luthor is perfect. Wade is a huge fan of the original Superman movie, so the best part is the Superman 1978 reference when he calls Lex Luthor a diseased maniac, just like in the movie. Luthor is still a savvy businessman, willing to do anything to make a buck, but in this interpretation, he's an astrobiologist and a scientist. It merges two different interpretations of Luthor. That's a storyline. I know that's only one issue that I read, but like I read that and I went, huh, you can kind of do that same thing with Superman, where it would have to be a story to where it's his first day, almost his first day on the job in Metropolis, because Man of Steel, we didn't get a whole lot of him saving Metropolis, being the hero of Metropolis. Basically, it was, I have my own family issues to deal with. I've got to basically deal with them, because that's how you have the thing at the end where you have the general be like, well, what do I tell Washington? They're not going to like this. How can we trust you? Kind of a thing, to where maybe by this point, because you can say because of BVS, because Justice League and that, maybe it's more of like a Superman's more of a household name at this point. And I think to me, the biggest thing that has always been, I don't want to say the problem with Superman, but this is the main thing with Superman, whether it's comics or movies, is that you either love or don't love Superman because of how relatable he is. You either think he's super relatable to humans in everyday life. Like I know two of my friends who are huge, huge Superman fans think he's so relatable. Whereas me, I was never like, yeah, I liked Superman because he was part of the DC umbrella. But to me, I was more Batman because Batman was more relatable. Yeah. He was a guy without powers. Yeah, he was fucking rich, but he was a guy without powers doing the superhero thing. Whereas I always looked at Superman and I'm like, I can never be Superman because I'm not an alien. I'm not from another planet. I'm not this, but hey, I could be just like Bruce Wayne. I could be just like him, even if I don't have the money. But you can also look at Superman. Yeah, you can be the same thing without being from another planet. Just be a good person like Superman is. Yeah, it all comes down to what you feel is more relatable in that sense. I get you. Yeah. Another one I was thinking of and looking at it, sort of a tie-in of the Death of Superman. Okay. More so the stories that come after it. Because we've already done Death of Superman. Yeah, more so the stories that come like straight after it, which is kind of Doomsday, A Funeral for a Friend, and Reign of the Supermen. Okay. So that could be kind of a tie-in of, hey, this is what happened while he died. Then
the Justice League movie happened over there, and then kind of...
Jeez, because that's one where you get Steel, you've got that Cyborg Superman.
Yeah, hold on, I'll click on it and get you...
Oh, man, what other
Superboy and Eradicator.
Yeah, the Eradicator. He's the cyborg Superman.
Yeah.
That's basically just, he scans people and then decides whether he's going to kill you or not.
Yeah.
Superboy was kind of like a flamboyant version of Superman.
I like that description.
Well, he was like Superman with a leather jacket. What else was there? There was Steel.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to think if those were the only three. I think there's one more I'm missing.
Well, it's Steel, Cyborg, Superman, Superboy, and Eradicator.
Okay.
According to the synopsis.
So then there's the four of them.
Yeah, and what would be cool is it says in here, and I don't know specifically who, because I was quick reading it. Two of them are disproven, just like that. Okay, you guys aren't Superman, but it is Eradicator and one other one. And it's like, we don't know who's Superman because they have some of the memories of Superman as well.
That's right, and I think I might be wrong with this, but I don't think I am. I think the Cyborg Superman, he's the one where, I don't remember exactly who it was, but this guy, kind of Reed Richards style, Fantastic Four. Him and his family go up to space.
Yeah.
They get blown up. His reality or his consciousness gets thrown into a computer, or he gets thrown into a birthing pod that is of the same race of Superman.
Okay.
It's Kryptonian. So, I mean, that's how he can merge and have the same thing as Superman, because his consciousness got into a birthing pod for a Kryptonian.
But it would be interesting. That would be an interesting story, because you can kind of like float along with Death of Superman and kind of go like stuff Superman has to deal with after BVS, or after not BVS, after Justice League, when they all kind of split off, do their own thing. Yeah, it's like, shit, there's people impersonating me. Now I have to deal with this. You're fake. You're fake. Shit, how do I prove these two are fake?
Well, here's the real question. I want to ask you this first before this is kind of an aside to the Man of Steel 2 discussion. Do you think we're going to see Superman in the Shazam movie?
If anything,
there's that
cameo-ish
too.
type thing.
I mean, because Superman has been, I'm not saying like a major part, but as Shazam is getting his powers, will Superman show up at some point? Because Shazam, Billy Batson Shazam, the kid, is a huge fan of Superman.
Which is why he loves it when you finally gets the powers.
Exactly. Like, he's like, holy crap, I'm Superman.
Yeah.
Basically, I'm Superman. I can do everything Superman can. So that's another thing to throw into it. And I didn't even ask you kind of what I said at the beginning. Should they go and kind of ignore what we did in BVS or Justice League, and if he's in Shazam, ignore that? Or should they go, you know what, we are starting right after Man of Steel, and we're ignoring all that?
Don't ignore what you've done, but kind of like start splitting them off. And then, like you said, do what you said. You've already connected all this stuff. Just stick with what you've got and branch it off into, okay, everyone's doing their own thing. Kind of like they do with the Avengers.
Yeah.
Everyone did their own thing. Avengers
Thor
movie.
Ragnarok was basically Thor.
And
Thor and the Hulk.
Yeah, well, Thor Ragnarok was Thor and the Hulk. Iron Man 3 was just Iron Man. You had
Spider-Man Homecoming
was just Spider-Man. Captain America Civil War. Well, the wrong one. I meant the Winter Soldier.
And Iron Man was in Spider-Man.
Yeah, well, and then you had Winter Soldier, where it's just Captain America and Sidekick.
Really, we've had 4 movies that have had everybody.
Yeah.
Avengers, Age of Ultron, Civil War, which isn't an Avengers movie, but it basically is.
Close to, yeah.
And then Infinity War.
Yeah.
Like only 4 of those movies
had almost,
everyone.
if not everyone.
Yeah.
So I mean, yeah, but we split off and do our own things, and then come back. Which I love the argument of, well, why didn't he call so and so? Because that was happening.
Yeah.
Captain America didn't help Tony because he had his own shit going on.
Yeah, he had his own thing too, and that's why for me, I feel like the easiest thing for them to do without overcomplicating things is getting a story that has Lex Luthor at the main verse of being the bad guy.
That would work too.
Because I feel like if you introduce a new bad guy, like there's one story, even though I didn't like the graphic novel, I would love to see on the silver screen, and that's Red Sun. Do you know about Superman Red Sun? Or you want me to explain it to you?
Where he gets, like when he crash lands, it's in Russia, right?
Yes. So that's an alternative universe where if Superman landed in Russia?
Yeah.
And he's basically he's a commie, He's got the, what is it called? The
hammer and sickle.
Yeah, the hammer and sickle on his chest, and he's basically Putin's right-hand man.
Yeah.
Well, he would be Putin's right-hand man. It wasn't Putin at the time.
No.
But he'd basically be Putin's
He would be
right-hand
Stalin
man.
in that era. I think it was Stalin.
Yes, it was.
Stalin's right hand.
So
man.
Stalin's right-hand man, basically doing whatever. What was Stalin? Was he considered the Kremlin? Was that what he was called back then?
No, I think that was.
Or was that beforehand?
I think that he was before that.
Basically, whatever Stalin wanted, Superman did.
Yeah, he was part of the Iron Curtain in a sense. He was part of the communist regime of Russia,
which would be an interesting thing to tell. However, the thing I didn't like at the end, spoiler for it, was that there's a time loop at the end, and it basically made everything pointless. Everything that just happened was pointless. Because I know in that one we've got
Flash.
One of the coolest versions of Batman. Basically, think Batman, but with like not gray, a brown winter coat and like one of those Russian hats that have like the flaps that can go up. That was our Batman that we had. So it was Russian Batman as well, which was pretty cool. I would like that, but I don't know how that translates into the story they're doing now.
Just because the story we have, I don't think they'd be able to do that.
I think they would need, to me in Man of Steel 2, what I would want to happen is I would want, 1, the main villain to be Lex Luthor.
Yeah.
2, I would want to explore because Man of Steel 1, we explored everything about his family. Everything about his dad, about Mr. Kent, kind of teaching him life lessons, him learning from both Martha and Papa.
Don't show off your powers.
Yeah, don't show off your powers kind of a thing. But in this one, I want it to be more Lois. Build that relationship between him and Lois more, because we didn't really, we kind of got that, like, oh, she misses him, and oh, he's gone, and oh, she kind of wants him to be next to her while she's laying in bed. But I want to see that more. Those are the two things I want from Man of Steel. Maybe it's one of the things where Lex Luthor is the main villain, but Superman might find out, oh crap, he's putting together a Legion of Doom.
Yeah, maybe that one. I'm still still thinking about the Reign of the Superman, only because I'm not opposed to the Lex Luthor being the main villain type thing. But my other thought is most of them are kind of one-offs if you really wanted to make it that way. You could make a majority of them one-offs. I mean, Steel just comes back later and does his own thing.
Because who's a member of the Legion of Doom? Brainiac.
Yeah, very true.
So, I mean, you could have it to where Brainiac's the villain. Maybe Lex Luthor finds him somehow
at the end, after credit scene type thing.
Or it's just Brainiac's the villain and Lex Luthor recruits him.
At
basically,
the end?
a verse Avengers, where it's basically instead of us recruiting all these heroes, it's Lex Luthor recruiting all these baddies.
Yeah, that would be
at the end of different DC movies.
He just
because
Nick Fury's it.
Holy shit! Think about it. We've got also Bizarro's in it too. I wouldn't throw out Bizarro Superman yet.
Not
I
yet.
would save
I'd
that
save
one.
Him.
Think about it though. Black Manta, who is going to be in Aquaman.
Yeah.
Cheetah, who is going to be in Wonder Woman 2. Gorilla Grodd, Riddler, Scarecrow.
Captain Cold was in it before, right?
Captain Cold was in the TV.
Oh, is
Captain
in the TV
Cold
one?
has not been in the movies yet. But however,
I'm saying.
However, Flashpoint, we don't know which. However, didn't Barry Allen in Justice League mention a Gorilla Grodd?
Maybe.
Because no, that was it. In Justice League, there was an Easter egg in the back that he was learning something about gorillas. Why would he need to learn about gorillas? Gorilla Grodd. So we know Gorilla Grodd is present in the universe.
Okay.
So
I didn't remember.
There's whatever Flash villain you want to throw in, but for sure Cheetah and Black Manta. Who knows if they throw the Scarecrow or Riddler into the Batman movies? Like, they can do it to where it's like, hey, we're going to have all these one-shots, but then at the end, the post-credit scene is Lex Luthor recruiting them
Nick Furying it.
Yeah, Nick Furying it. Maybe for Batman they use Deathstroke because
Yeah.
they've already kind of incorporated him into it.
Well, he can be the secondary recruiting person. Like, hey, Lex, so and so has an offer for you.
Yeah, but that's what I would think would be cool is maybe he fights Brainiac and at the end Lex Luthor says, hey, we're putting together a team, or Deathstroke comes up and says, hey, we're putting together a team. I think with Brainiac it would be Lex.
Yeah, no, Lex, because it's intelligence to intelligence.
Yeah.
They want to someone that can actually talk to Brainiac, that can be on his level in a sense.
You know who I would love to see in a DC movie? Solomon Grundy.
Yes.
God, I get it. It's basically the Hulk. It's basically the Hulk with a button-down shirt and a suit jacket on.
Just technically a dead guy.
It's basically what it is. It's a dead Hulk because he's big like the Hulk.
Grundy, born on a Monday.
Oh, I would love. Any final things for Man of Steel before we wrap this?
No,
shindig
I'm on board with that one too. Now that you came back to my Brainiac idea.
Was there any final ones that you were thinking about that you want to throw out there?
No, like I said, I'm not as in tune to the Superman storylines as you are, so those would be my thoughts. The ones I gave out, the Brainiac one or the Reign of the Supermen were my two main ideas.
My other one, and this would be only because of they're making fun of what they said in Justice League, where he said he basically said truth, justice, and the American way. There's a comic called What's So Funny About Truth, Justice, and the American Way, where that plot is it features the Elites, a team of superpowered anti-heroes fortified by Manchester Black, who gained worldwide popularity for viciously killing their foes. Despite the acclaim and approval of the elite are enjoying, Superman believes that they are in the wrong, continually defying the elite even after they save a city. As tensions between them finally culminate in a mass showdown taking place on Jupiter's moons and Superman's request, Superman taking advantage of the fight being taped makes it appear as though he has killed the elite members, really using his speed to get them out of harm's way at the last minute so that nobody sees it. To show the public that violence is never a positive thing, stating that he will never stop fighting his way to show the world. Not exactly that, but I could see them doing maybe something like that, where Superman has to show the world, like, hey, violence ain't the answer. Violence is not the answer. You can do it without this. Like, I did not kill, like, whatever foe, I did not kill this foe. He did not die.
I don't have to kill them.
Exactly. You don't have to kill them to stop it. And basically being that good role model, because that's what Superman is. He's a Boy Scout. True and true. But this is where you guys come in. Let us know what you think down below. What story would you like to see for Man of Steel 2? What do you think that DC should do for that movie in the future? I want to thank you guys for watching and listening to the Rick and Johnny podcast. Housekeeping at the end. Totally forgot to do it at the beginning for this one.
Shame on you.
I'm going to blame that on events that happened this week. But little housekeeping here at the end of the podcast. Number one, if you want to support the channel, make sure to go to patreon.com/mostvaluablepodcast. Number two, go down below in the description to see our store link where you can buy an MVP t-shirt. Make sure to check out mostvaluablepodcast.com. That's where you can catch MVP each and every day. And last but not least, go on to iTunes and Apple Podcasts.
There you go.
Give the Rick and Johnny podcast a 5-star rating. Want to thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys for listening. And as always, have a good day, everybody.